Everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are doing a live broadcast today, and I'm really excited to have these amazing women as my guests. So I'm gonna let them kind of introduce themselves, but all I can say is they are the makers of fantastic wine, and we're gonna learn some really cool things about wine today that maybe some of you didn't know. So I'm Carol. I'm Food Integrity Now, foodintegritynow.org. I usually do podcasts, but today I'm doing a Facebook Live, and I'm really excited. So first of all, Christine, let's start out with you. Tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit how you got into the wine.
Oh my gosh. I'm a nutritionist of 20 years, and I absolutely love my profession. It was helping thousands of women every single day. And the whole thing is that I put them on these strict diets because I'm a mean nutritionist. We got results, and I always took away their wine. So I wasn't very popular, but again, they got results. So I thought one day, why don't we just go ahead and combine this good stuff in the wine and see if they can't actually do something that can help themselves at the same time. So this was born. It was really me taking these herbs that I've been working with for years and years that have been proven to work and adding them into a really healthy based wine that Crystal can get more into and creating a product that women can be excited about.
Great.
Yeah.
And Crystal, let's hear from you. How did you get involved in this whole wine thing?
Well, I've been working in the wine industry for 18 years, and it's a beautiful industry. And it's also sometimes a very challenging industry because it is sometimes challenging to focus on eating healthy and working out and drinking your wine and eating foods that are for wine. So, when I started this project with Christine, she and I were both at a conference, a speaker conference. And I just spoke, for me, the truth about what it was like being a female in a male-driven industry, and how that's really what's led me to being a female business consultant, and especially in the wine industry. The realization I had is I would love to find a way that provided a product to women that combined the healthy lifestyle that I enjoy along with wine, which is what I also do.
That's so cool.
Together, that's how we came.
Well, I want to talk a little bit before we go into your wine. Some of the things that people may not be aware of, like if you buy wine, for instance, that says organically grown grapes, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting a chemical-free wine, does it?
Correct.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Crystal, go for it.
Sure. So the thing about chemicals is that there are a lot of chemicals that are used in winemaking that aren't necessarily non-organic, because they might be a concentrate, it might be a wood chips, it might be also a chemical called Velcorin. Velcorin is a liquid. It is considered organic. But it's toxic. So for the first 4 hours that it goes into any liquid product, it's actually toxic for human consumptions. So it's a filtering agent that's used. Those are just a few of the items that are in wines that could be labeled organic. Typically speaking, an organic wine is not going to go out of their way to do things and cut corners. But what I don't think is happening is people are not going past the organic question into what is the philosophy of the people? Is it organics because they want to make money? Or is it organic because they really, truly care about what's happening to the soils, what's happening to the people who consume the products? And that's where working with Christine, even in the vineyards that we have never sprayed glyphosate ever, anything with Roundup, they were still coming up. Once we did the testing, they were still coming up with glyphosate, which I had no clue was even possible.
Yeah, that's pretty scary, because you think if you're drinking an organic wine, then I'll be good, I won't get glyphosate in my body, which I know our listeners know this, but it's the active ingredient in Roundup, and it's This show's not all about glyphosate, but it's pretty nasty stuff. So we don't want it in our food. We don't want it definitely in our wine. So Christine, tell us a little bit about your wine and why it's different and why you feel that there are some health benefits to your wine.
Absolutely. Well, I have to be able to make something that I'm actually going to drink. So I'm very stuck up and anal about what goes into whatever I'm consuming. And these herbs are organic and well crafted. We have turmeric in there. We have lemon peel. We have muscadine grape skin, and we have chicory. And all these things are specific to basically giving you back what alcohol would take out. For example, the turmeric to help with protecting the liver. The lemon peel is also a liver protectant to help clear it of alcohol. The chicory helps to improve the gut bacteria. So when you drink alcohol, you actually deplete all the good bacteria in your gut, which accounts for a lot of the bloating and gas and weight gain that we tend to get from that. And then a muscadine is also helpful for antioxidant benefit and weight, liver, and blood sugar. So there's so many different benefits to drinking something like this, so that it's not going to screw up your daily diet of eating healthy and exercising. Whereas wine that's out there now, it's organic possibly, again, but possibly, chemical filled, and it doesn't have these enhanced benefits to, again, give your body the optimal way to get back to what it was even before, you had, it's as if you didn't have the alcohol. It's basically going from a milk chocolate to a dark chocolate. It's a better quality product that you'll feel good about the next day. Yeah. The other thing is that we are certified vegan. And a lot of people think that wine is vegan. It's just grapes, right? It's just fermented grapes. That's all there is to it. But we don't use fish bladder. We don't use any kind of animal products that are used in the process that I know Crystal can really go into depth about. And that was important to me because not to be vegan, but the vegan lifestyle is they respect their bodies, they respect the planet, they read labels, they really care about what's going in their body, they care about what's happening with their families, they care about the impact that's happening with the way that they're eating. So we really wanted to also make the wine vegan. So there's a lot of positive things that are going for it.
So Crystal, tell us a little bit more about that, why they would use fish bladder or something like that in a wine. What would that be used for?
It's actually really ancient. These are techniques, and some of the animal byproducts were ways that we can fish bladder, milk fining, fish bladders, gelatins. What they do is they help create a magnetic process, and it helps other basically wine when it's first made. It's pressed, but it has all sorts of particles. You have tannins, you have yeast cells that have died off. So you have a very murky, unfiltered product. And you can't bottle it 100% unfiltered and murky unless you want to make that type of wine, but it's unstable. It's a very fragile wine. It's not been stabilized. It's basically like an unpasteurized apple juice. And people really don't want a bunch of floating things around in their wine, and they don't want it to look that color either. So when you think about wine having all of those beautiful materials that need somehow a way to filter, once they are settled, they need to come out of the product. So those are different ways that they can filter, is by putting in the fish bladder or putting in milk fining, which milk fining basically what it does is it grabs, the lactose will grab and carry everything down to the bottom so you can rack the clean wine off the top. Same with fish bladder. We choose to do diatomaceous earth. So what we use is plates that'll help, just if you think about sand or gravel, when the wine passes through these very compressed natural clay plates, it's a natural filtration. Things get stuck in there, and the wine will still move, the clean wine will still move forward. By doing that, it's a much cleaner process as far as we're using a vegan concept, we're using clay, but it also, it's more time consuming, it's a lot more labor intensive, and it's more costly because you are going to have a natural loss of your product because things can't run so smoothly. And that's also why people have turned to things like Velcro to help stabilize and clarify their wine, because they add a very few liquid drops to kill all microbes and yeast cells.
Wow, that's a little scary to think of.
It is scary.
Yeah, and considering that the importance of having, a really healthy gut these days, that bothers me. So let's talk a little bit about one of my concerns about drinking wine sometimes is GMO yeast. What do you guys do? I know you don't use GMOs, so tell us about the fermentation process.
So our fermentation process is really naturally selected yeasts. So the winery that I've been a part of for almost 2 decades now, we have basically a beautiful process where we're able to work with naturally selected yeast. After a while, there are natural yeasts that just live in the air. So when we bring in grapes and we ferment them, we're able to monitor the fermentation, see how they're doing, and really see what's a healthy fermentation. Because whenever you're working with wine, every single day is a new day. You don't know if something's going to go volatile because you're working with a product that's fermenting, and it's a long fermentation process, and there's actual 2 fermentation processes. So with red wine, you actually go through 2 fermentation processes. So for us, it's really about just making sure that the selective yeasts and the natural yeasts are going to be the right fit for the right wine. So we have a different one for the white and a different one for the red that we work with.
So is that another name for wild fermentation? Am I correct in that? Or is that something different?
No, it could be a version of that. Wild fermentations, we're kind of, wild fermentations mean you don't know really how it happened or where it came from. For us, we know that it's an ambient yeast that's been kind of cultivated in our cellar.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. So in other words, it's a little more controlled?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great.
Healthier. I mean, and even in that controlled environment, yeast it's living, so it can do its own process. So you do want to just make sure you're monitoring it and keeping it healthy and keeping it clean as well.
Yeah. So when you were looking for a place to create your wine or grapes and soil and stuff, how did you go about doing that? Did you just go around and test for glyphosate? How'd that go?
Well, Christine's laughing because yes. So I thought that right away when we started working together. I'm like, oh, I have all the vineyards I work with. We don't spray. But Christine's standards were quite relevant to a question that we should be asking is, even if you don't spray, could glyphosate still be present? And so hundreds of thousands of, just the different sources that we were going through and the different tests that we're going through, thousands of dollars. And the labs, this is what was interesting for me as a winemaker, is that labs don't test wine on a regular basis for glyphosate. It's not a winemaker test that we run. We run a variety of tests, but we don't run glyphosate. And so we even had to find the right lab to work with, which was a challenge because a lot of labs just don't test for it.
Yeah, yeah. And so what did you find when you started testing?
I'll let Christine is the lab scientist.
Well, what we found is that even though the vineyards were organic, just like we talked about, getting kind of away from the organic is everything. And, our standards are higher than organic, that the glyphosate was still there. The grapes aren't actually, the vines aren't detoxing the glyphosate from them. And there's the overspray, but also like Crystal was saying, even if they haven't sprayed, it's still there. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The vines are releasing it. So we went high and low and again, spent thousands of dollars. And it has just been the most amazing research project, just learning so much about the wine industry, calling these labs, the labs getting upset with me for testing for glyphosate, saying, I'm trying to throw them under the bus and, expose the wine industry and this whole thing. And I really wasn't expecting that reaction. I said, I just want to test for glyphosate. Isn't this important to you? Don't you care? And some of them didn't know of it. Some of them were very defensive. It's been a long road, but so worth it. And Crystal actually knew of this vineyard that we get our grapes from, and I can have her tell you a little bit about that. But it was crazy because, I kept thinking there has to be a vineyard in California. A couple of years ago with the article coming out that every wine in California has glyphosate, I said that it can't be true. I don't want to go to Europe for wine. I want a local product. We're going to find it. And I think I'm just really stubborn. I'm really stubborn and I'm clinical, and I look at everything and I pay until I get it right. And so we found one vineyard that we cannot say the name of.
Why is that? I'm curious. Why can't you say that? Because they would be inundated.
They would be. And the thing is that they don't test for glyphosate, and that they, just like Crystal was saying, it's not something that winemakers think of.
Yeah.
We actually educated that vineyard, said, guess what? They're like, what's glyphosate? I mean, they knew a Roundup, but it just is such a foreign concept because that's not what they're in it for. But their background is that, they have a clean vineyard, that they've never used it, and they have processes that, keep their area to where they're just so separated, right, Crystal, from everywhere else, from the overspray as well. But that's the thing, is like giving them attention that they didn't even know was their attention to be had.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Wow.
It's like, okay, so everyone's going to call them. They're like, oh, we didn't even know that. It's just, it's our process, not theirs. They're just a happy vineyard that, they could supply that. And we're, again, giving them the information. Guess what? You're this. Guess what? You're this. Guess what? Guess what? Did you know this? Guess what? You're the best here. They had no idea. They're just following ancient tradition at their vineyard.
They're making wine the way it used to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the herbs that you infuse the wine with. First of all, I've tried your wine. I love it. You cannot taste turmeric in your wine. You cannot taste any of those herbs. So you still.
That was intentional. That took a lot of myself and the cellar master and her husband. We were all just.
Because I'm not so sure I'd like the taste of turmeric in my wine. But anyway, but I like the properties of turmeric. So excuse me. So it's kind of an added benefit. So I think that's great. So next I want to talk about the sugar, the residual sugar. That's really important to me. I, like you, Christine, I am a nutritionist as well. And it's kind of near and dear to my heart too, because I love wine, and I was hearing the same thing from my clients, like, I can give up the sugar, but I gotta have a glass of wine.
Right.
So that you heard that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So having a low sugar wine is really important. And some people may not be aware, but some of the big manufactured wine, where, there's like 3 big, huge wine. I think I heard this, 3 big wine companies that do about 50% of the wine in the US. And I'm not going to mention names or anything, because I don't know for sure what their sugar levels are. But you can get a pretty high level of sugar in your wine from some of these mass-produced wines. So let's talk a little bit about your process, Crystal, about the importance of low sugar wine.
Well, the thing with wines, especially in America, is that we kind of have a background of winemaking that happened culturally when we became kind of this competition of wines needing to be bigger and bolder than the last wine that you tried to be memorable, this is very different than the European mindset. So I, having gone to school in Italy, grown up in Italy, and really learning wines in Italy, for me, it was wine goes with food. It's simple. It doesn't need to be high alcohol and big and in your face. And so when I started working with my business partners, especially at Palmina, everything was Italian focused. So we make very balanced wines, which means we pick them at a lower sugar level, so that we could then, once they're at a lower sugar level, it's less fermentation. As far as fermentation time, and then there's going to be less sugar means that there's less alcohol. So it's just a natural kind of common sense that needs to happen. But in America, we tend to have kind of the bigger is better mindset. And there's a lot more wineries moving in the other direction right now, just saying, okay, we don't need our wine to be the food. We can actually have wine that is beautiful and balanced and creates a memory just as well without having to be, high sugar levels. So what we really focus on is when you find the right balance, meaning that there's the right amount of sugar, the right amount of pH balance, then we're able to create a wine that's lower in sugar and really beautiful and not high alcohol either.
Yeah. So a lot of people get headaches from wine. And I hear that all the time. Well, I can't drink wine because I get a headache. And sometimes it could be the sulfites. People do have some sensitivity to sulfites. But it could be other things, couldn't it? It could be the chemicals.
It definitely could be chemicals. It could be a variety of things. I mean, glyphosate for me, even as a winemaker and being in the industry for as long as I have, until I met Christine, I never tested for it. I just assumed because we didn't work with it ever in the vineyards, it was a non-issue. Yeah. But that was a shock for me. So, that's a huge awareness that I've had to put into practice here in my family. And there's also Velcrin, like we spoke of, that doesn't be listed. So it is not always the sulfites. And I think that's one of the number one things that we need to really look at, is that it's not about always the sulfites. It's about, if people say to me, wine gives me a headache, I say, okay, well, is it what red wine, white wine? Can you drink wine in, say, Europe? Because a lot of people say, oh, but I can drink wine in Europe. There's a couple reasons why. One is they're usually lower in alcohol. Not always. There's also large European wines made now. Typically, they don't have the same practices with Roundup like we do. So there's not glyphosate happening more often than not. And they tend to also just eat a much more healthier, balanced meal with their wine. So there's a lot more elements where they're just not getting these, large, high alcohol, high sugar, potential chemical wines, and then eating, just kind of a junky meal. So typically what I really love about Christine is that she's not saying give up everything. Give up the wine, give up this. It's that 80-20. Like, if you want chocolate, eat dark chocolate. If you want wine, make sure it's the right choice. If you want to have a holiday party, she made a great holiday party recipe guide, so you can have the right foods at your party so that you're able to enjoy it still. Yeah, it's really all about balance, because I know if I get too rigid with my clients, they're just going to go, what can I have? I can't have anything. Yeah. So I give them choices, better choices than maybe they were making before. So I do the same thing. So I think that's really great. Well, I think it's great because you took the extra step to be certified glyphosate-residue free. And if am I correct? You're the only winery that has that certification right now?
In the world. We're the first and only in the world. We're not just in California. We are the first and only wine in the world to be certified glyphosate free.
And those standards are really high, because I know the certification process a little bit. And so congratulations.
Thank you. It's expensive and worth it though. It's worth it. It's hard work.
It's important. There's
glyphosate
is in so many things. Why do we need the added thing of having it in our wine too? So as I said, I tried your white and your red. Tell us a little bit, because I know that people are going to want to know. Okay, it's a red wine. Tell us about what kind of red wine? What's in it? What are the grapes?
So the grapes are Grenache and Malbec. Could you give me 1 second? I'm just going to tell my boy, guys, be quiet for 1 more minute, please.
Mommy.
We're Facebook Live. What can we say? Things happen.
They got home from school. They just got off their ride, and they're in the backyard trying to trampoline. So so the red is Grenache and Malbec. Okay. And the white is Grenache Blanc and Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, really, really good. And for our listeners today, I know there are people listening live, but this will be on my Facebook page, and people can get back on and listen to this. to be able to try your wines, I'm going to put a link up here and see if I can do this. Is a
Perfect.
link? Okay. So if you
see it.
Yeah, if you go to that link, and you have to be very specific with this link. The FIN-SMART has to be all uppercase. That will take you to our website, and you can find out about the wine there, and then you can click, and it'll take you over to their website. And also, tell us a little bit about what you have going on right now for Christmas as far as trying your wines.
So,
Well, right now, go ahead. Crystal, go ahead.
Well,
we get so excited.
No, we basically know that people want to be able to have an easy solution. And sometimes the shopping process and figuring out when do I buy it, how do I buy it, it's too much. So we created a very, very easy solution where you can sign up for the subscription of 3 bottles a month, which is not a lot of wine. It's just an easy way where you can have the sample pack, the experience pack. It comes once a month, and the first shipment is $3 plus shipping. So it's a great way.
Fabulous.
I know.
3 bottles of wine for $3.
Yeah.
So it's a great way that you get to try the subscription, and the first one is $3 plus shipping, and people are loving it. We just launched that earlier this week.
Okay, and also they're so great. They gave me something really special as far as where I'm going to offer my listeners a discount code to get 10% off their wine. So I'm going to see if I can figure out how to add that, which I may or may not be able to do here, but it's pretty simple. It's FIN, that's Food Integrity Now, FIN 10. Easy to remember,
Very
Food
easy.
Integrity
Very
Now
easy.
10, FIN 10. So if you use that discount code, you will also get a 10% off. And also, if they want to buy just 1 bottle of wine to try, can they do that, or how does that work?
They can, and what we've done is that we've actually sweetened the deal even more. So if they buy just 1 bottle of wine, just so you know, the standard shipping is, $20 for 1 bottle, or $20 for 3, or $20 for 3 bottles. So we didn't even have a single bottle on there because it would be $50 bottle of wine, right? So what we decided to do is give you 10% off on that single bottle, plus take care of shipping. So that's another sweet deal. So no shipping, just on the single bottle of wine. Everything else will have shipping because there's more bottles to it, of course. But if they want to buy just 1 bottle of wine, 10% off and free shipping.
Great. So 1 bottle of wine, you get 10% off, and then you get free shipping on 1 bottle. And then the other deal is that if you want to sign up for the 3 bottles a month, which is not enough in my book, I shouldn't say that, but it's true, then you can get the first month subscription for $3 plus the shipping. So basically you're going to pay $23
for 3 bottles of wine.
For 3 bottles of wine. So,
good deal.
And I'm more of a red drinker than a white drinker, but I really liked your white too. I thought it was a good food wine. So I really, and I'm pretty picky on wines. So I wouldn't be having these guys on here and talking about this if I didn't like your wine. The first thing I did when I found out about your wine, you want to tell them?
You had to try it. And you said you didn't get a headache.
No.
You said you felt great drinking it.
And I pushed it a little bit.
You did.
Just to try it.
You did to see what would happen, right? I
don't drink 3.5 glasses of wine. And I did. And I woke up the next day and I was like, first of all, I didn't wake up during the night. which can sometimes happen when that sugar hits your liver.
That's true.
And I woke up and it was like, okay, I feel like I didn't even have a glass of wine last night. So
exactly what we want.
I had to test it. You know, my show is food integrity now, so I'm not going to promote anything that I don't love. So,
right.
and I really, really loved your wine. So thank you for doing this. I feel like a lot of people have been waiting for this, you know, a healthier version. You know, we have to say, drink responsibly. We're not saying, you know, you can go out and drink, you know, 2 bottles of wine a night. And, you know, you have to be responsible and do everything in balance. But if you do enjoy wine, why not drink something that is not really going to harm your health if you do it in moderation?
Right. It's specifically there to help you to be better the next day, which is not what you can say for other wines. And everything you put in your body should help you be better the next day, because every moment matters. Tomorrow matters. It's the foundation of it, right? We don't want to feel like crap. We have things to do. We have people to hug and people to love and connections to make and a difference to make as well. So got to put good fuel in your body. Yeah.
So once again, if you want to just check it out and go to the bit.ly/food integrity now, FIN, SMART. Those have to be uppercase. And the discount code is FIN10. And it's a great time to try it. And now let me ask you something. If people order right now, will they have it in time for Christmas, or getting close here, or what's the deal?
Absolutely.
If they order it by Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, the latest of next week, that would be the easiest and safest way to guarantee.
Okay, great. What a great Christmas gift for someone too that enjoys wine to.
Oh yeah, and having it at the holiday table, because I know for us, you know, we have Christmas Eve, we have Christmas, we have all the family events. It's usually 3 days of wines being opened, and my mom is always, you know, she's always watching her health, and it was so exciting for her because she'd be like, Mom, I have a wine you can actually have. She's like,
and a wine that I know a lot of people eat, you know, ketogenic or paleo, and you know, it's not going to throw you off like a lot of wines would. So so it's fantastic. So thank you, both of you. In closing, do you want to say anything else that I've forgotten, or any other comments or?
No, I didn't.
Go ahead, Crystal. We're both. Go ahead.
Somebody had asked on the Be Live or the Facebook Live, what does it cost after the first month? It depends if you order a mixed pack as your subscription, a red or a white, but it ranges from $75 to a little over $100. So again, it's pretty reasonable. I mean, we think about the amount of kombucha and all the stuff that I do buy. I'm like, you know, this at least you can share with your friends. You can have a glass. You can have a glass for 3 nights and it'll still be great. So it's not like you open it and it's done. So enjoy it over time too, if that's an option. But what we really believe, but Christine and I both believe, that this is a way that we as women can still celebrate the connection of coming together, and it being, you know, she came up with this great tagline: let's give women a way to unwind without undoing all their hard work. Let's make it so that you can actually enjoy the community of women, enjoy the people that are in your, you know, maybe your girls' night out, and it doesn't feel like, oh, I gotta go extra on the treadmill tomorrow.
Exactly.
You know, so really for the offer that we wanted to do was just giving people a way that they felt confident, because we really, one of the number one values that Christine has is integrity and transparency, which is why she went through what she went through. So for us, it was, okay, if people get for $3, 3 bottles plus shipping, that's it. And then after that, you know, depending on what you had chosen, that just shows up every month. And that's a great way for you to feel like, okay, I can enjoy the wine, and it's just something that's easy to add to your way with your girlfriends, and in a way that you can enjoy your time with them, and maybe by yourself too. I know there's that when my kids are in bed, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
bubble bath,
yeah.
a book, and a glass of wine, and I'm so happy.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful to be with like-minded people, and we have a similar mission, and I think that's great because you fit into the model that that I try to teach people, and so thank you for doing what you do. Perfect
Absolutely.
timing on that. So.
Yay.
And if somebody forgets this link that's up there, you can always go to foodintegritynow.org /Smartvine, and it'll come up too. But this is just a shortened version, and it'll be on this Facebook Live, which will be up for quite a while, so they can come back to this and find it. So thank you, both of you, and I appreciate you being on the show, and I appreciate you making this great wine.
Yay, Carol, thank you so much. It's been so much fun getting to know you, and you're so excited on the other line, and it gets me excited, and it just means so much that we're in this together, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for you and your mission, and we're all in this together. It's what it's about. So thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
So thank you, and enjoy the holidays, and enjoy your wine.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It comes once a month, and their first shipment is $3 plus shipping. So it's a